This one change doubled the amount of profits that my cleaning business and all of my students' cleaning businesses were making. If you don't know me, my name is Johnny Robinson. I've spent the last 7 years, essentially my whole working adult life, building and helping grow cleaning businesses. I had a window cleaning business with my partner Sergio that we got to about $65,000 a month when we sold it. I also built a cleaning business for my mom that is about $30,000 a month, and she still runs that to this day and just takes the cash flow and pays herself. And we now have Home Service Academy, where we've helped over 1,500 people start and grow their cleaning businesses. And if you're somebody who owns a cleaning business or is looking to get into the cleaning business, then there's one thing that you need to do right in your cleaning business in order to set it up for a solid foundation so you can continue to grow it and you can continue to scale it while staying profitable, because that's why we're in business. We're in business to make money. We're not in business to run a break-even business. It's not fun. I've been there, I've done that. I promise you, it's way better when you're actually making money. Now, getting into the cleaning business, or if you're in the cleaning business and you don't know this already, it's important to know. And it's that you're in the recruiting and staffing business, right? And so it's important for you to always be recruiting, always be staffing. I've made another video on that, but this video is gonna be about paying people properly. And I know it sounds boring, but it's actually super crucial, and it's what separates the businesses that are cash flowing a ton of money per month versus the businesses who aren't cash flowing and aren't profitable. It's because you're likely paying cleaners too much. Or if you're starting out, you're wanting to be overly generous with how much money you're giving the cleaners. And a lot of this time, this comes down to a scarcity-based mindset where you're thinking, oh, if I just give them more money, I'll be more likely to hire them and they'll be more likely to take the job. Well, that's actually not true, right? It's all about how you frame it and how you pitch it, and also where you recruit from. I really like Indeed to get cleaners because you don't have to be salesy and you don't have to convince someone to come work for you, right? Because that gives them leverage and that makes them more likely to negotiate higher pay, right? And so what I'm getting at here is you need to understand something called gross profit margin, GPM, in your business. This is something you can take into any business you ever run, but as far as it relates to a cleaning business, your gross profit margin is everything left over after you pay your cleaners. Since we're in a service-based business, your cleaners are your cost of goods sold, and GPM is everything left over after your cost of goods sold. And so this is something you should be tracking on a month-by-month basis. And so what you do is, once your books close, which is typically gonna be a week after the month end, you're gonna spend 30 minutes to an hour combing through your P&L, your profit and loss statement, and looking at how much you paid your cleaners. Your target gross profit margin should be above 50%. 55 to 60 is really, really good and where I would like to see it for a healthy business, but 50 to 60, I'm not mad, I'm not complaining. This means you're gonna be left with 50 to 60% of your revenue every month to play with. You're gonna take some of that, you're gonna put into marketing, you're gonna take some of that and pay your admin person, like your virtual assistant, who actually answers the calls and books the jobs. You're gonna be paying for things like your software with it, your insurance, your phone system. It's also gonna allow you to test different things and different strategies that might be able to add more revenue and growth into your business. But if you don't fix this first at the very beginning, or you're finding yourself in a situation where you're not making as much money as you like in your cleaning business right now, it's likely because you're paying people too much, and it's something that you should go out and take a look at. And if you are paying people too much, then you're gonna wanna either rework those expectations and those agreements with your current cleaners and your current staff, or you're gonna wanna start to hire a bench so that when you do dial it back inevitably, you're gonna get some cleaners on your team that aren't happy with it. And when they aren't happy with it, they're not gonna do as good of a job. So you wanna have a good bench of cleaners on standby to plug in at the proper pay structure so that you're making more profit every month. And I'm not saying I want to just pay the cleaners as little as possible. There's a fine line, right? And so I find that 40 to 45% of booked jobs is what I want to pay cleaners. And the way I'm going to ensure that they still get paid a lot on that 40 to 45% is by quoting jobs at between $60 to $70 an hour. No matter where you're at, whether you're in Arkansas or Orange County, California, you can get away with this because I'm a big fan of residential. Residential, people have different willingnesses to pay. And so knowing that people have different willingnesses to pay, I know that I might have a willingness to pay of $300 for a deep clean, but Susie next door might have a willingness to pay of $200, and Tim to my right might have a willingness to pay of $400, right? And so my job is to just get as many leads as I possibly can, quote high prices, pay the cleaners 40 to 45%, and then I'm now left with 55 to 60% gross profit margins. And as an example, I've included a P&L here, and what you can see here on this P&L gonna pop up on the screen is when you do this the correct way, you can see they did almost $43,000 in top line sales. They had a 56% gross margin, meaning 56% of that revenue was left over to pay other things. They didn't have too much fixed cost in there. and they ended up with over $18,000 of net profit without having to do any cleaning themselves. And this is what it looks like to run a healthy cleaning business. And as you can see, that's a 42.7% net profit margin. That's a very, very good base and foundation to continue to grow and scale their business off of, because they could take a lot of that profit and reinvest it into things like different marketing strategies, different customer acquisition channels, et cetera, et cetera. Now, as far as what it looks like when this goes wrong, and you can see here on close to $7,000 of sales, they had about a 48% gross profit margin, which honestly isn't that bad. The problem here is that they're just very low revenue levels, but even then, had they had their gross margin fixed, you wouldn't see a 5.8% net profit margin. You would see at least a 15% net profit margin had they just done this correctly, even though they screwed some other things up. It gives you more margin for error by fixing your gross profit margin, especially early on. And so you can see the importance of this now just by looking at the two side by side. So to recap everything, know what your gross profit margin is, expect to pay cleaners around 40 to 45%, no more, because now you understand the impact it has on the bottom line, which is all that matters when you're starting a business, is how much profit are you left over, unless you're raising a ton of money to build the next Google, which if you're watching this, that's probably what you're not doing. So know your gross profit margins, pay your cleaners the proper amount, charge high prices, and it will reflect in the bottom line, and you will make tons of money, and you will make tons of more money. This is by far and large, if you're looking to get into a cleaning business, if you're looking to grow your cleaning business, the biggest impact you can make on it, and it's a simple fix. You gotta hire more cleaners or renegotiate the agreement and expectations you have with your current cleaners. And this is ultimately just one thing that we teach inside Home Service Academy. And if it's something that you're interested in, we do offer one-on-one coaching with our coaches who have built and sold multiple cleaning businesses and helped thousands of people do this. If that's something you're interested in and you want to bypass all the BS and stop trying to figure it out on your own, click the link in the description down below. And if not, then check out this full course video. It's 42 minutes long, where I go a little bit more in depth, a bit more in depth on how we grow and scale cleaning companies. Gross profit margin is just one thing we touch on, and we go in a lot more in depth on a bunch of other things you can be doing to increase the profits and grow your business profitably. So click that video if you want to watch that. If not, hit the notification bell. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I'll respond to all of them. And if you haven't, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.